It's October, and that means raking leaves, pumpkin spice, football, cooler weather, spiced cider, and, though not all of you know about this, October is also Pastor's Appreciation Month. This is a relatively new phenomenon, but someone has postulated this idea and publicized this idea, whereby congregants are called upon to communicate their appreciation for their pastor. And I, for one, am for that. So much so that I want to devote this brief Ask RC to talk about some ways that you might do that for your pastor. Now, what often happens during Pastor Appreciation Month is that the congregation together, or individual members of the congregation, or both, end up getting gifts for the pastor. It might be a gift card to a favorite restaurant. It might be a new set of commentaries. It might be any number of things that a pastor would appreciate, and I'm all in favor of that and all in favor of doing those things. But I want to tell you what your pastor wants more than that. What your pastor wants more than that, friends, is to know that he's being used by God to bless you as you seek to follow Jesus. The reason we have a month committed to appreciating our pastors is because pastors struggle deeply, not only with feeling unappreciated, but with being unappreciated. We take our pastors for granted, and how much more so in this strange and difficult year. I've mentioned it before. One of the blessings that a pastor typically receives, particularly when he's preaching God's word, is the feedback and responsiveness of the people that he's preaching to. He's able to see, hopefully, some level of impact. But when you're preaching to a camera or an iPhone, you still got to pour out your spirit and pour out your soul, but you get none of that energizing feedback. So your pastor may be much more drained this October than he was last October. But what will fill him, again, is not, and please listen carefully, I'm not saying what I want you to do is flatter your pastor. I'm not saying what I want you to do is even give honest and sincere praise to your pastor for his preaching abilities or whatever it is you think he does particularly well. Because what he wants to do well is help you. He wants to know that whether it's through his prayers, whether it's through his preaching, whether it is through his counseling, whether it is through his equipping of the saints, he wants to know that he's making a difference in your life, in the life of your spouse, in the life of your children. He wants to know that his work matters. Because everywhere he goes, right behind him is a demon assigned with this ongoing simple message. What you're doing doesn't count. What you're doing doesn't matter. You are a failure. You are a failure. That's the message he receives day in and day out, which leads us finally to the obvious thing. You want to bless your pastor? You want to demonstrate to him that you appreciate him? Pray for him. Pray for his spirit. Don't complain in your prayers against him. Pray that God would bless him. Storm the throne room of God and plead that he would draw near to your pastor, that he would put a hedge of protection around your pastor, that the Spirit of God would fill your pastor with courage and with encouragement. And if you do that, you will demonstrate your appreciation for your pastor, and you will demonstrate your appreciation for the great shepherd of the sheep.